Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back for some more Arbitrator exploration. So I am trying to get into that alpha clone potential for exploration a little bit, and actually a couple of people said that there is no way that an alpha clone can do what I'm doing with the Arbitrator as an omega clone. Are they right? Well, to a certain extent, of course, it will not be as easy. That was actually pretty relative in the Sanshas Vigil in the second room as what you're seeing on this screen, but I personally think that the alpha clones might have enough options. Keep something in mind, I actually have shield implants on this one, for instance, so that's not very helpful for the fit that I'm using here. And there's also what I think will make a very big difference, the boosters. Of course, they can actually pull you through a pinch like what I had in the second room individual quite a bit as well. But for this video then, I want to show you guys something that was actually mentioned by another viewer, an option that you have when it comes to the loot pinata, and that is of course to make a loot mark, a bookmark of the loot, get out, wait for the site to despawn and then come back. Now I personally have actually never done that because I'm actually targeting those guys, then we'll head in that direction. I've never done that because, and we can start to fire like that as well, because I tend to be in strong enough ships that can pretty easily tank anything that comes in, and as a result, yeah, I've never actually done that, and so I want to see how long we have to wait, if the mechanic does work well or not. Let's see how my missiles do, by the way, on these small rats, and we'll try to take them out first. And for alpha clones, of course, the first order of business when it comes to these harder sites like this 4 out of 10 is of course to try and dodge the incoming damage a little bit. Whoops, we actually do need to start repping because we are taking a significant amount of damage. The resist and everything, it is a lot less of course on this ship, but let's keep going. It's mostly the small guys that do get on top of us fairly quickly, so we can take them out. Let's see if I can actually grab that scavenger and get rid of him in a single volley. That would be nice, like that. And then let's see how maybe one Hobgoblin does against a single one of these drones as well. Let's take a look at that performance. Alright, just keep going. And then if we are somewhat worried, this guy still has a lot of chunk left, so let's send him to oblivion with my missiles. Yeah, look at that, they're actually taking all of these small guys out without too much trouble so far, so that feels pretty good. We got out of trouble just by flying straight through all of them. You could actually dodge this way more effectively than what I've been doing here, and that has been quite okay. Next up, we've got some cruisers to tackle, so we're actually gonna, for instance, take an orbit at 20 so that we can keep using our missiles as well. And then we're gonna switch from these drones to the medium drones. And what was the range here? It's 31 kilometers, so you do need to basically get close enough like that. Then we'll upgrade to mediums, go my hammerheads, and let's get started on these cruisers as well. Now, a big disadvantage, and that is absolutely true, and I do think that alpha clones are going to experience that quite a lot, is of course that you are pretty slow compared to the top tier ships like the Gila, like the Stratios, like the Ishtar, and so there's a pretty big chance that someone else will eventually come in and try to steal your loot. That's gonna happen far more often, but it should, I think, be an incentive for you to try to get better at scanning, get better and more efficient at running these sites, and basically get more and more comfortable so that you can eventually compete even with the best explorers out there. Some people have also mentioned that it's been hell trying to explore around Dital lately, and I agree, it is decently busy, but I also took a quick trip to Amatar space to see if it's any better there. Closer to Minmatar, I thought it would be less populated, and let me tell you, it's the exact same thing. Lots of Stratios, lots of Gilas exploring out there. So personally, I do think that, well, when it comes to high-tech exploration, the game has a pretty healthy population, and we can actually, I think, start to reapproach the gate here. a pretty healthy population that is running that activity. Almost all the spaces are pretty much covered by these explorers, and so that doesn't make it too easy to enter in there, but it is of course one of the, in my opinion, most profitable solo friendly activities in EVE Online at this point, which makes it very attractive to a lot of players. It's definitely not to all of them, but you have to understand that this is something that lots of players that are more solo minded actually enjoy doing, and so finding that right space to do it in is basically part of your exploration experience as well. So next step, we're slowly getting back to the gate. We'll probably like orbit it at 500 so that we can warp off when we can, but you see here I think an alpha clone should have no problem dealing with the first room either. At one point, the tank was tested just a little bit. We went to like almost 50% HP or something like that. But with the, learning this first room, learning, well, which are the first strats that I should target, which is the direction that I should fly towards, so that, as you can see here, most of those beams just keep missing me, is all part of the experience, of course, and what's gonna make you more efficient than other players in these sites. So next up, we still have this one to go. Let's hope that my missiles can reach him as we are close enough to the gate. I think we'll do our orbits. Unfortunately, they're a bit too far away because of that, but we'll be fine. And yeah, these hammerheads are really nice, of course, against these larger targets as well. Now for the second room, we gotta think a little bit, and so what I want to try to do is basically rush for the main loot, but without testing the tank like we did in the Sanshas Vigil. And so that means that we're gonna actually take a safe orbit around 30 kilometers, of course, since that's the range for my missiles as well. We're gonna try to destroy the true Sanshas cruiser, which is of course the DPS test that you gotta go through when it comes to high-sky exploration as well, because it's far more tanky than the true Sanshas rat in the Vigil. And now we're gonna bookmark, so I'm gonna get this stuff ready as well. Then we are going to bookmark, get this guy, the location we'll see for the site to despawn, and then normally we should have a direct warp in. We'll see if it works or not. That was definitely a tip that someone mentioned in chat that could be very helpful for alpha clones. As I said, for omegas that are running with those bigger, badder ships, well, not necessarily bigger, but just better ships like the Gila, this is completely unnecessary since you can easily tank the room indefinitely. But yeah, an alpha clone, second room for a Vigil, especially with the webs, and here this is gonna be a decent amount of DPS. So we're gonna look for the true Sanshas foreman. We're gonna target him. We're gonna fly off in that direction, speed to maximum, and then we're just gonna hope that our hammerheads can take him out pretty nicely, then that we end up within like 30 kilometers. And that we can also add the missile DPS, of course. So here we go. Let's get started. Let's snipe this guy out. Drones are on. 30 kilometers are in range. So now I should probably like do an orbit at 30, but you don't really know which direction you're gonna fly exactly. Okay, that's actually still very much in line with what I was going for. So we're gonna take a little bit of damage due to slowing down. Oh, because we approached quite a bit more quickly than I thought. But then we're gonna orbit at 30, and we're gonna orbit basically away from this pack, so that should be absolutely fine. In the meantime, you can see that his tank is slowly breaking. My drones are still doing quite okay. And so here now you can tell that this is not gonna be that big of a deal. Can you do the same individual? Well, because of the webs it's a bit more annoying, of course, but then what you want to do is save location, submit, there it is, that's the wreck. Ooh, one of my drones is under attack now, which is not so good news. We're gonna keep speeding away from these guys while they come back. If you wanna take the time to take a pot shot at one of these reavers, let's go. There it goes. And then, oh, well, the site actually already despawns. Yep, so we're gonna give that a try, right? Let's get out. By going to a refuge. And then, just to play it safe, we'll wait like a couple of minutes. So, here we go. The warp. We get our location. We get our wreck. And normally, we should be fine. These wrecks, I think, last for around 2 hours. So, you should be absolutely fine. But you can tell here that that signature is down. In the meantime, refuges, definitely something that's alpha clone friendly as well, and can potentially escalate to a pretty good site, so worth doing as well. So while we wait just a little bit, just to try to see, to give basically a better chance of not running into the site, I'm also gonna take the time to quickly scan down the other signature. Basically, finding your routines, finding your efficiencies is what exploration is all about. And so doing by learning is pretty important. Gonna let my hobgoblins take some pot shots. Ooh, that does not look like it's gonna be too good. So we're gonna take you out. That's one of the sentry towers gone in the background. Let's go. It's an unstable wormhole, so it's nothing special. Alright, you know what? We are going to... Normally, no one else should now be able to get a warp in on my loot, so we should be absolutely fine. We are going to keep going, hope for a true Sansha here as well. And yeah, the refuges, of course, are super easy, especially when you add in the actual missile damage. Blop, you're gone. Blop, you're gone. Slave Hunter and a Savage. Boom. Next one. They'll be fine. Still have a cannibal. Still have a chance. Whoops, another one. Okay, if we get one more spawn, I think there is a chance for the true Sansha to show up. Although, this might be the last one already. Yeah, unfortunately. And no escalation either. You get like a pop-up message saying that you spotted a signal after running this site. And so, let's go. Let's take a look. Warp within 0. In the meantime, the refuge despawned as well. And let's hope that we don't get in on all of these rats. Although, I mean, if you do land right next to the loot, it's not that big a deal, of course. And as I also explained in the previous video for alpha clones, what you can try to do as well is take some of the DPS off the field before you take out the stasis tower as well. So that's an option. But yeah, there you go. Site despawned. Everyone is gone. We are nice and safe. And here is the loot waiting for us. Overseer wreck, that's what we want. Unfortunately, it's empty. Not a good drop like individual last time. But yeah, very good tactic, of course. That would have allowed us basically to blab the true Sansha individual, warp out. You should get a very fast warp out when you're webbed like that. And then just wait for the site to despawn and get back in. For people that are wondering, I do always put the fit down in the description of the video as well. But medium warhead Calefaction, so the rigs are for more DPS for the launchers, because we do want to get a decent amount of DPS. 350 felt pretty good, as you can see. We've got Tech 2 light missile launchers, and if I press show info, you can see that they're actually available for alpha clones as well. We get a probe launcher and sister core probes. Here you can definitely do something that's not as good as this and still find these sites. It's actually very doable. Take one afterburner, then a couple of medium capacitor batteries. If I press show info on that, not Omega either. Then we get a target painter. You could very easily do a meta one here as well. Take 2 armor repair, damage control. And then I did choose a Corpum B-type energized thermal membrane, not super expensive, and an A-type EM membrane was actually very doable, and then 1 drone damage amplifier. And that's basically how this arbitrator works. And I think this video also shows that it has that alpha clone potential, because we never were threatened in any way in this 4 out of 10, and we did it pretty easily. So I hope that this can help some of you newer players out there as well. Learning how to fly, learning these sites is all part of the exploration experience as well. And yeah, with some implants, get some boosters in case of an emergency, and you're good to go. I think you can actually easily handle all of these sites just like an Omega clone as well. It takes a bit more effort and a bit of learning, but it's definitely possible. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time.